Well, good evening. Happy Friday. It is December the 4th, and another episode is in the frying pan of the Ken and Glenn Show, live on a Friday night. Happy Friday, Ken. Well, let me introduce the star, the single, the inimitable, the one and only star of our show, Mr. Ken Walls. All the love be to you, Ken.
Oh, dude, man. What's going on? We got Brian Hess. Dan Kelleher is in the house. Bruce Mills. Edna. Jay Brotman said, please delete me from your listener list.
Can we do that?
Yourself, bro.
Or we could just go ahead and honor the request.
I can't. He has to remove yourself, man.
Good evening. Good
he looks
evening.
like an adult.
Good evening, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy.
There's our Tennessee brother, Chad Kneller.
Man, oh man. Doug Wing is in the house.
Hello, Utah.
Scott Ricard.
You just like saying Scott's last name.
I do, man.
Because you put that beautiful trill on the R. Ricard, like Ricky Ricardo. Very
Ricardo.
nice.
Ryan Austin, what's happening, dude?
Oh, he gave me a thumbs up on the great intro. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia. Bye.
Bye, Felicia. Joan, what's going on?
Hi, Joan. How's everything on a Friday night in up there in Pennsylvania? I love saying Pennsylvania. Jay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. By the way, did I even tell you that earlier this week, Carolyn made me some chicken oh my gosh? Have you ever had chicken oh my gosh?
No.
It's when they put chicken in front of you and you taste it and you go, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
See, you said it.
I know,
oh my gosh. See?
Doug Koopman's in the house. Hey, look, shared. Hey, I got to show you a little clip, man. This clip really touches my heart, and I think it's the appropriate time to show it, man. You have not seen this one yet.
Well, feel free.
I have it locked and loaded. You ready? Check it out. Here we go. You ready?
I was born ready.
Okay.
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town. Santa! Oh, my God! Santa here? I know him.
I know him. He had a little bit of Jay in his performance. Jay the weatherman. Will Ferrell's the best.
I love
that other actor doing his damnedest to just sit there and go.
I know.
That's a special skill set, by the way. You can just look at someone that you know is killing you inside. They're cracking you up, and you just go.
I know. I couldn't.
The thing is, here's the secret to that. You have to look through them, even if you're making direct eye contact. It's just this. Because you're holding a thought and you're not seeing the funny, because the minute you see the funny, it's over with.
Dude, I don't know how I've seen you do that. I have no idea how you, because I just don't think I could. I like to laugh.
Wait, Chad wants to know, Glenn, have you watched Mel Gibson's Fat Man movie yet? I was considering it tonight with my son. No, I haven't.
Huh.
What on earth is Fat Man? Is Mel the star of it?
My gosh.
Yes, chicken. Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Look what Jamie says. There's a place in San Fran called Good Frickin' Chicken, but unfortunately it's not that freaking good.
Oh my gosh. Good frickin' chicken. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Man.
Hey, hello from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, dude,
where
you're down there.
Crazy, man. There's rioting in the streets. There's people carrying signs everywhere, and I'm just a little kid from Texas trying to do a job.
There's no rioting in the streets, right?
You're right, but there's supposed to be. I haven't seen anything.
We'll see.
But nobody comes down to this hotel. It's just they'd know to do that.
No,
it's Midtown. Not. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Let's see. Nell is Santa and sends little turd 12-year-old some coal for Christmas. So little turd asks Hitman Dad to take out Santa. Whoa.
Oh, wow. Someone is going to put the hit on Santa. Look at that. Some OMG chicken from Ruby Tuesdays.
Wow. Nice. Carol Burnett show had trouble keeping straight faces. Oh my gosh. They
did. True. I wish they had something on YouTube from our show, from the show I did with Tim Conway for a year called The Beef, but I don't think there's anything online from it.
Well, you talk to everybody and I'll look for it.
It's called No, don't do that.
Why not?
Because it's not there.
You sure about that?
I'm certain. I've looked it up before.
Yeah, but you've never asked me to look it up.
But I'm gonna look it up right. It put Tim Conway The Beef, but don't leave to do it. Tim Conway The Beef
right here.
And a top of the evening to you, Charles Coachman.
Charles Coachman is in the house.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find.
Oh, Sandy is saying, Georgia, we need to save Senate. You know that. No Grinches this Christmas, please. So that's what it's about. I thought everybody was just in uproar over the fact that we're not back on the air yet.
That's
with the resident. I thought that's why the whole state of Georgia was in upheaval, is because it's like, we want our resident back.
That could be it, dude.
Do you think?
It's quite possible.
Maybe.
So Tim Conway.
Good evening, Robert Brooker.
I don't see.
Good evening, Donovan. I told you it wasn't there, dude.
I see Tim Conway and Harvey Korman. My Emmy moment. That's funny. The hot dog vendor. That's a funny bit that he used to do. You want a weenie?
Is that one going to get us tossed off the air if you play that one?
I don't know the copyrights on this stuff, man. I don't know.
Hello, Callanan. Hello, Donovan.
Donovan, hey. I called Glenn and said, dude, Donovan wants us to go live. He said, well, we can't keep him waiting then. Let's do it.
So here we are on yet another Friday evening. Did you title tonight's talk? Do we have a purpose with our lives tonight? I'm thinking, look at there. Perry is so ready. Well, Perry, look how ready I am, sweetheart. I dressed up. I dressed up for the show tonight. I dressed up to receive my COVID test when I landed. I got in today and went straight from the airport to be tested. Hey, should I give them a preview of this week's That's Just Wrong?
Do.
Okay, well,
do it.
This one was pretty wild. So I had a 7:25 a.m. flight. And, let me just ask our audience right now, if you have a 7:25 departure, if you have that, where are you at 6:14 a.m.?
Getting ready to leave to head towards the airport.
At 6:14, if your flight leaves at 7:25, you're just getting ready to leave?
6:14, I would probably be pulling into the airport.
Okay. I was going to see if
anybody
out of
else. Columbus, though, dude. It's like we have to dodge. The pilots literally have to dodge cows on the runway as they're taking off. So, I mean, it's not that big. Is the point.
Yes, Donovan, I am in ATL. All right. So my point is that if you're conscientious, you're going to be at the airport. Okay.
Dan said sleeping.
If you're really conscientious and you're thorough so that you don't have any issues with traveling, since people on this end are waiting for you, you're already through security.
Yeah.
You're already on the backside of security. And if you're like me, you're at the gate.
Yeah.
So I'm at the gate at now 6:14. Now, why do I say 6:14? Because at 6:14, not 15, and if it had been 15, I would have said 15. But at 6:14 a.m., I get an email regarding my COVID test that tells me that I have an urgent message and need to get in touch with them right now. Now, they know that I'm leaving in an hour, so this is not a good thing that it's urgent and they need to go right now. And the problem is they're not open.
Right.
And I'm trying to reach them because I'm having a reaction to the word urgent.
Yeah.
And I have been super careful. I don't get in close proximity with people. I'm an avid mask wearer, and there have been no issues, and I feel fine. And so I wind up calling Carolyn. She's very alarmed. And I said, I think there are some people that would back out of this and sit tight and wait for them to open and not get on the plane. But I'm here, and I am convinced that nothing is wrong, but I don't understand the nature of this. So I get on the plane. Now let's move into the flight part. Actually, no, let me cut to the chase, which is that when I land, I've got a succession of emails by the time, because it was the fastest flight I've ever had from Dallas here. We had such a tailwind. We were in the air 1 hour and 20 minutes. Nose up, nose down, like an hour 22, something like that. It was incredible. And so it was really, really fast. And I got here to the news. I got my notification that just want to let you know your test was fine. Everything's great.
That's messed up.
I'm sorry. So you urgently needed to tell me that I was fine? I mean, I'm grateful for that news. Don't get me wrong, but perhaps you should review the wording that is used.
Seriously.
Because nobody needs to urgently, I am as serious as the day is long, Jamie, urgent. And then I went straight from there to go be tested again, because that's just how they do it. I was tested on Wednesday. That's part of working in film and television now, is that we're checked 3 times a week. So I was checked on Wednesday. Then I flew Friday, and as soon as I land, checked again on Friday, and I'll be checked again on Monday. But what a whale of a thing to hear right before you get on a plane, so much so that you don't know what you're supposed to do. And that was the thing. And I've got things that I'm supposed to do in Atlanta, and nobody's getting information to me. And wouldn't it be easier to just, yes, exactly, Chad. Emergency. I just want to let you know that you're fine. Exactly. So it was weird. It was really, really weird. And I landed and I thought, I think I need to bring this to someone's attention, because that is not the way people should be notified that everything is fine. How about all is well, we'll see you in Atlanta? Would be a better start. And this has nothing to do with the program that I'm on, by the way. This is a separate company that does this testing. This has nothing, because I'm in heaven with the show that I'm on.
Right.
It's great, but maybe we should just do them at the hospital, the fictional hospital that we have. I'm sure we would come up with a better way of notifying people for some stuff. But anyway, that did truly happen.
That is just
Arlene
wrong.
says, I'm a nurse and find this hard to believe.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the text right here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Anyway,
that's
so
incredible.
then let's take it a step further. So then there's the guy that gets on the plane that's a ways away and decides that he should be the last person on the plane to then go hang out in the bathroom. And the plane can't leave. Like they can't go down the runway with him in there, and he takes his own sweet time. And so, I mean, has anyone heard of pooping before you get on the plane? Now, I understand if you have an urgent need for a bowel movement that could happen mid-flight, but who walks in to poop on the plane as their first act? I'm here. Where's the toilet? And the reason is because they have restrooms that are right there at the gate.
But maybe the guy's got a problem. Maybe it's a nervous thing.
Okay. Let's go with that story, Ken.
Maybe he gets on the plane and
then he came and
relax.
sat down and began coughing, which was the equivalent, and mad coughing, which is the equivalent of someone wielding a sword. In today's world, it would be like a guy going, "I'm going to kill all of you" with a machete, and just the reaction.
Marking his space. Who is Facebook user?
Oh my God!
I'll tell you something though, man. One time I flew from Las Vegas to Ohio, and I had bronchitis, really, 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 really bad. Mm-hmm. And it was bad, but not horribly bad. Mm-hmm. It was not contagious. What I had was not contagious. I made sure, but I had to fly to Ohio that day. And when we got in the air, as we gained altitude, I don't know what it did, but I went from like a pretty bad cough to it wouldn't stop. It would not stop all the way to Ohio, 4.5 hours or whatever it was.
I'm with you.
And like everybody was worried about me. Like the flight attendant, "Sir, can I get you anything?" I was sitting in first class. What can I? I'm like, just no, leave me alone. And there's some dude next to me, and he's looking at me like, "Dude, what are you doing on this flight? What's wrong with you?" And anyway. Yeah, that sucked. People were giving me really dirty looks too.
Right. Well, and imagine you add COVID to the mix, and then imagine the dirtiness of the looks and the screaming and the fear and the ducking and the hiding and the people that are near that are doing this and like, no, I don't want any water.
Yeah. So hey, by the way, I think my mom tested positive with COVID.
You did tell me that. How's
she apparently she's had it since the day before Thanksgiving, which we haven't seen her, but she has a really bad cough. So it's been 2 weeks now, I guess. Is that right? Is that 2 weeks or a week? How long is it?
It's been 8 days ago.
8. Okay. So Thanksgiving Eve, she started this coughing thing, and she took a test. I guess got her test results yesterday, and it was positive. So she has not lost her sense of smell or taste. She just has a really, really bad cough. And my dad was getting a test today. I don't know I haven't heard what the results are. So yeah, crazy.
Well, Godspeed with her. I hope that she heals thoroughly and swiftly.
My younger sister, her husband, and all of their kids have it as well. So, yeah, the whole house.
Well, this guy, I don't know what his deal was, but he thought that it would also be an ideal time to take off his mask and begin bathing himself. That's right. You heard me. He went in with a towel into the bathroom so that he could soak the towel and just sit there and bathe himself for the first section of the flight, which I've never seen, by the way. I've never seen in-flight bathing, and I've flown all over the world. That was interesting. And then as kind of a bonus feature of today's ordeal, we hit I mean, turbulence is just part of flying, not a big deal. But we hit a pocket where the plane steered when you're not steering, and we went completely sideways. It was the sharpest turn I've ever seen. People were screaming. It was I was the first thing I thought is we may not do the Ken and Glenn show tonight.
Oh dear,
and that was disappointing to me. You know, when your aircraft is inverted like this, and you're thinking Ken may have to go solo this evening. I don't know what's going to happen, but anyway, we got
just
here.
So you know, I would have, just in memory of you,
right,
and out of honoring you, I would have done the show solo.
And I can't thank you enough for that. It's really really nice of you.
I wouldn't have. I would have been at the scene of the accident saying no. I would have been looking for you for years, probably. I know he's out here.
Do you know one of the big dilemmas if a plane goes down right at a state line where half the mess is in one state and half the mess is the other? Do you know where they bury the survivors?
Dude, I heard this in like 4th grade, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. For those that don't know, the answer is you don't bury survivors.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so funny. Are you sure this isn't a scene out of one of your movies? Well, you know, interestingly enough, when you were in Air Force One, I was really fired up. Like, yeah, I haven't seen it forever. I'm going to watch it. Glenn's in it. Can't wait to see this. It was one of your first big movies, right? Wasn't it back in the day, or I don't know. But anyway, so I'm watching it.
No, that was in 97.
Oh, was it? Wow.
Yeah.
So, I'm all fired up and you get shot in the first 10 minutes or something. I was like,
yeah,
this is bullshit. I'm not watching this movie now.
This is bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm not gonna watch this.
I was like, this is ridiculous. They just killed Glenn. I'm out. Off. I think I may have canceled Netflix that night.
Do you know that it was the audition for Air Force One? I walked in, I went, I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it because I'm going to be working with Harrison Ford on this film if you hire me as a Secret Service agent. And I was so excited.
Dude, but you know what? In the very beginning of the movie, you're in it like in several shots.
It looks like it's going to be something, and then you go, oh, he's dead.
Literally, I think it was like 10 minutes in or something. I mean, it was like,
wow, this is a good role for Glenn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What just happened?
I was like, that is ridiculous. Hold it. Why Chad sending you healing energy? Why? Hold it. Where did I miss something? Chad is sick. Is Chad sick? Did Chad say he's sick?
Chad, we're sending you.
I've had COVID for last week. Whoa. Lost smell, taste about 3 days ago. The first 4 days were rough. Wife and 3 kiddos haven't had any symptoms, and I've been around them all. The upside is I've lost 5 pounds. Wow, dude.
Goodness,
how long's it been since
Chad.
We saw Chad? How it's been?
We saw Chad 5 weeks ago.
Oh, 5 weeks ago. All right. Well, thanks for not giving it to us, Chad. Appreciate that.
Actually,
and feel better, bro.
I can tell you the exact date we saw Chad. We saw Chad on Halloween Day.
That's right.
We saw him October 31st, Saturday, October 31st.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got in on Friday night. We had dinner in Nashville, and then Chad came and met us for breakfast, which was really cool.
Glenn went 55 years deep in for that.
Into his bag of jokes for that one. Yeah, it's true, Charles. That's about right. I think I first heard that one when I was 8.
That's funny, dude.
Hey, Ken, what other really ancient jokes do we know? Like ancient jokes. Does any? And I'm asking our audience.
Who is Facebook user? Who are you? Who are you? Click the little link that says
So
register
Facebook
me with
user did not lose their taste, but they did lose their sense of humor. Maybe they. I wonder if anyone who's sick has ever lost their taste in people.
Well, then I had a long time ago. So I got there was this one time at band camp. No, so this one
time at band.
Yeah. So I was on a flight from Charleston, West Virginia to Nashville, and it was one of those little puddle jumper planes, right? I think it held 30 people or something. I don't know. It was a small plane. And the back seat in the plane was a bench all the way across. And they sat, I think, 3 or 4 people there. So I forget what, but that was the very back of the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And or was that on an island hopper? I know. I think it was going to Nashville. And we went through
I feel too dressed up, Ken.
Horrible storm. Yeah. Dress down a little bit, man. You're making me feel insecure. I'm kidding. No, you're not. So we went through this terrible storm. I mean, and everybody has a story about going through really bad turbulence.
Mm-hmm.
But this was on a completely different level. I have never been through turbulence like this. It was like Gilligan's Island.
Not even in a marriage?
Okay. So it was really bad. I mean, and we hit a pocket, and there's like, I'm sitting next to it's Dan Altmeyer. StreamYard hates me, but Dan Altmeyer, I did the StreamYard.com/Facebook and it can't smell me. That is so funny. So we hit a pocket of, I guess it's hitting a pocket of cold air. I don't know what is, but the plane, like, all of a sudden just drops. Like it drops like a rock. And my brother-in-law.
That's comforting.
Yeah. So anyway, it was horrifying. And there was a minister in the back that was praying. My ex was sitting there in tears. There were a lot of people screaming and crying on this flight. I am not kidding. I may or may not have been one of them. I will never disclose that. But anyway, and there's this other woman that's with the minister that's speaking in tongues. Like, she's literally speaking in tongues. And I'm like,
gosh.
Yeah. And I'm like, we're dead. We're going to die. This is it. It's over. I'm going to die on this shitty little airplane over the mountains of wherever we were. And it's over. And I can't believe we made it. I've never been on a flight like that. And I swore I rented a car and drove back. I said, I'll never fly again, ever. I did. I have since then, but it was brutal. It was brutal. Anyway, so yeah, that's my flying story. It was, somewhat uneventful. Nate said, what movie? It says, I know, dude.
Chad says, why did the boy wash his clothes in Tide? And the answer is because it was too cold to wash them outside.
No.
Inside, outside. Inside, outside.
No.
If you do a dialect, that joke's even better.
Oh,
because the S and the T are interchangeable. It's, why did the boy wash his clothes inside? It just makes it a little bit easier to do. And Joan is going into quarantine.
What?
Wow.
Why am I not seeing these comments? Look what Nate says.
Yes, has a taste for everyone.
Wow. Oh, that was Chad's. Donovan says, dirtiest joke ever.
White horse falls in the mud. Yep.
So
is your refrigerator running? Yes. Well, you better go catch it. You remember that as a kid? Yeah, it was like the number one prank call.
Yep. Yeah.
Second only to calling the meat mart, like the butcher in a grocery store, and asking for the butcher department, the meat market. And they answer, and you ask them if they have pig's feet. And they say, yeah, we got, I got pig's feet. Well, wear shoes and nobody will notice. And that's how we spent our time as kids.
Calling. Yeah, prank calls.
Prank
You can't
call.
do that anymore.
Is it illegal now?
Well, I think it always has been, kind of, but I think
worst flight ever was out of Wisconsin, and my flight did several drops like you described. I was on a business trip, and I was green for the next couple of days.
Yeah,
that's
a terrible, terrible, terrible thing, man. It's really
a disturbing feeling, but it certainly helps you get your priorities in line.
Ben Gay the Third, how you doing, man? Good to see you, Ben.
Strong stuff. We haven't even gotten to our strong stuff, Ben.
No.
Strong stuff doesn't usually come until at least 45 minutes into the show.
We're just getting warmed up.
And then one of us, and it's
actually becomes funny.
It's actually Ken usually, and he'll just
start crying.
He'll just get emotional.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
And then he shares some weird story about a new fertilizing product that he's adding to his plants. It's bizarre. Gary Schill, in a bad storm, we were all over the place.
Whoa.
Everybody was screaming and praying. I was in the last row right across from the flight attendant. I asked her for a bag of peanuts, and every time the plane dropped, I popped a bag of peanuts. There was a guy from India next to me praying in Hindu with a very heavy Indian accent. When I would pop the bag of peanuts, he would get upset and ask me in his heavy accent, why do you keep doing this? I felt if I was going to die, I got to have some fun. Gary. We attract the greatest audience.
That is so funny.
Any show online, Ken. We do. That's my buddy Gary out of Austin. Oh, goodness gracious.
That is funny.
I was flying over Albuquerque one night. One day. I was one trip to LA, not night. One trip to LA. I was flying over Albuquerque, and it was on an airline called Texas International. That alone should have been the red flag, but it had a stop in Albuquerque, and I was in my early 20s, and you could get flights to LA for like $49.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was just stop over in Albuquerque for an hour. And when you're in your early 20s, and you got a wife and you got kids and everything, it's like $49 to get me to LA. Yes, please. Now I don't want any part of it, but at one point we were supposed to be landing, and we're now circling Albuquerque, and there's not a cloud in the sky. And, they send you in a holding pattern at LAX, at JFK, at O'Hare, at ATL, possibly sometimes even at DFW. They don't send you in a circular pattern at Albuquerque unless something is wrong. And we circled Albuquerque for about 20 minutes until finally the pilot came on. He's one of them good old boys like that, a retired military guy. And he goes, in case y'all are wondering how come we're going around in circles over Albuquerque, it's because we, I don't know how to say this. We can't get the wheels down.
Oh, no.
That was the announcement. I don't know quite how to say this. We can't get the wheels down. And I asked the flight attendant, because we're like this, and I'm looking out, and we're close. We're not way up. We're fairly close to the ground, and I can see the airport, and it looks like they have an emergency team that is forming around the runway as we make several passes by. At one point, it almost looked like he was about to do a touch and go, but I just said, "What's going on down there?" And the flight attendant in the calmest voice said, "They're they're foaming the runways for us. She goes, we're getting ready to make an announcement. They're going to let us know the whole deal about duck and all this. And then we had been coached as to what we're going to do. And then he goes, listen, we fixed it.
Oh my God.
The tone.
What?
We fixed it. This is the pilot that we fixed it.
Dude,
and I'm thinking, and he goes, but we want you to go ahead and stay in those positions that the flight attendants were describing for you just in case.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me, dude?
I'm not kidding. So he told us they fixed it, but he was not the picture of assurance. And so we're in the old duck and cover mode from the 60s, and everything was fine. But man, as they were nearing the ground, and we're just going, come on, wheels. No problem. We landed just fine, but that was over Albuquerque.
Oh my gosh.
We fixed it.
That is insane, dude.
He said it with the same casualty, not casualty, that's a terrible word, casualness, the same casualness that one would say it with regard to a radiator hose.
Wow.
Like a mechanic, like a goober from Mayberry would just say, I fixed it, Andy. I fixed it.
That is crazy, man. Oh my gosh.
What is this? Read this one.
Bart Simpson prank call to Mo. Hello, can I speak with Amanda Hug and Kiss? Mo. Hey, I need Amanda Hug and Kiss.
Amanda Hug and Kiss. Can I speak with Amanda Hug and Kiss? Nice. That's Amanda Hug and Kiss. That's good. That's clever. I love wordplay.
Nate says, I prank called someone, said, hello, this is Baskin Robbins. If you can name 31 flavors in 31 seconds, you'll receive $31 in 31 days. The timer starts now.
That's cute.
Chocolate.
Vanilla, something great.
Strawberry. Chocolate. Oh, no, wait. I already said that. Sir, you lost. Goodbye.
I don't imagine they ever get more than 4 or 5 flavors in. They probably get a Rocky Road or a chocolate chip or mint chocolate or peaches and cream. I love that one, peaches and cream.
So hey, you're in. How long are you in Atlanta? How long are you filming down there?
A couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. A couple of weeks.
And is it every day, or do you know?
It's a little more challenging now because we're doing block shooting, which concurrent episodes, and we did this with 24. But with 24, the difference was it wasn't on location. We were shooting right there in my backyard, which was LA at the time. But when you go on location and block shoot, it changes it because they're shooting 2 episodes at the same time, which means that they can shoot the 6th episode the first couple of days and then jump back and shoot 5 for 2 days, then 6 for a half a day, then 5 for 1 scene, then 6 for the next 3 scenes, and then 5 for 2 scenes. And they do that throughout the 2 weeks. So it takes them 16 business days to shoot 2 episodes instead of 8 business days to shoot 1.
So are you doing wardrobe changes and all that, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lord have mercy.
Continuity's challenging, but our people work hard, and it's not easy to block shoot, but it saves money and it's expeditious on one level, but in terms of tracking continuity and realizing, oh my gosh, I don't even have that information yet. Or when I walk in to this room, I now know several other things, and this is a full episode in advance.
Yeah.
So you have to always be aware of that. Who has to comb his hair? Might be Ken. It's certainly not me.
Sophia wants you to spill the tea.
No, I can't do it.
No,
I can tell you that we do premiere on the 12th of January on Fox, which is exciting.
And there is a trailer out for it, actually.
Yeah, so show them the trailer.
Okay, hang on. And it's season 4, right?
Season 4. Yep.
Well, it's such a great show, man. It really is. It's such a great show.
We're not giving a spoiler because this
No.
is a trailer that's out right now.
Here we go. Did I find it?
The answer, Sandy, is the limo. Yes, although today it wasn't. Today was production van, but normally it's a limo at the airport to and from. But they had to pick me up in a van because they had to take me over to the medical facility for our testing today.
It's crazy.
They're very efficient on this show. Just
So,
amazing.
excuse me. Let me find. Let me share audio.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Friday, man. Happy
This was
Friday.
a Chipotle Friday for me, Keno.
Huh?
I've got a Chipotle right across the street, and I went over for a lovely salad, little chicken salad.
Nice. Why is this not? Hold on. I'm trying to. Okay, so I need to. There we go. Okay. Here we go.
It's a short.
Yeah. It's
promo.
30 seconds.
These were our colleagues and our friends, healthcare workers who died in the line of duty.
I know what I stand for.
We need help.
I know what I'm fighting for.
First tenet of our profession, do no harm.
Tough times come. They always will. When they do, Conrad, I want you by my side.
The Resident returns this January on Fox.
Well, there's a little tease there that tells you what's up toward the end. So that's kind of cool. You're muted, Bubba.
I said, and you're still not allowed to talk about it. So, yeah, corporate greed in the medical industry. Yes. Happy Friday.
Hello, Ed.
So, I think that what we should talk about, because what did I call the show
The
tonight?
value of a moment.
The value of a moment.
Yeah.
I see. I have my Grow Live Academy, and I teach a lot in there about how to connect with people, how to make bigger connections, how to, grow those relationships, and really have a better life, really, through not just live streaming. Hey, Cameron, how are you?
Hey, Cameron.
And so, I think I see so many people today. I'll give you an example. Today, I'm talking to Jennifer Moran. I love Jen.
We
You
all
know
love
that.
Jennifer.
She's amazing. Love Jen. And I'm on the phone, and Mark Victor Hansen calls me. Mark is the co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He sold 600 million books. He's a bigwig. And I said, "Hey, Jen, Mark Victor Hansen is calling me. Let me call you back." And she goes, "Oh, okay." I go, "Thanks." And
She figured it out, huh?
I click over and answer the call, and I talk to Mark and his wife for a minute, or about 10,
Crystal.
15 minutes. And then I call Jen back. She answers and says, "Well, I see where I rank on the scale of people," or whatever. I said, "Jen, he's hard to get a hold of. He was returning a call, blah, blah, blah. And you and I we talk almost every day." And she's like, "I would have done the same exact thing. Okay. I would have done the same exact thing. So don't feel bad. I'm just busting your chops." So, yeah. Question: how do you best share the the LinkedIn live link for people to find the live. Down, I think underneath, down at the bottom, it should say share. And then I think I honestly, Cameron, I don't have the answer to that. But yes, Jennifer Moran does rock Chad Kneller. I agree.
And speaking of share, can you share it to the 2 Extra Mile groups? Because I tried and I could only share it to my main page. Just, I don't understand. It gets moody. Sometimes it'll let me do it and sometimes it doesn't.
I'll share it to all kinds of groups, dude. I will share it to all kinds of groups, but I will definitely share it there as well. Extra Mile, that one. There's West. Yeah, dude. Yeah, there we go. So I think, you know, people. There's Joel Boer. How are you doing, Joel? So, you know, look, when and that's an example. Like I'm not, if you call me, I'm more than likely, unless I'm really into like I'm not sending you to voicemail. I'm not, and I'm going to do everything I can to continue to foster our friendship and our relationship, the same that I would do with Jeffrey Gitomer. By the way, the new book, Go Live, Jeffrey Gitomer's new book, Go Live, came out yesterday. And I wrote one of the opening chapters in that book, and it's already #1 on Amazon and new releases. So
nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm so honored to be a part of that, man.
On that note about sending things to voicemail, may I piggyback on your take?
I'd love to hear. Here, I'm setting the stage, if I may. May I continue? Just let me put a couple more pieces in place. So people want more out of life. They want more money, recognition, fame, fortune, happiness, joy. They want all of these things. We all do. Every single one of us wants more joy and happiness in life. Would you agree or disagree?
I want to listen to your monologue.
Okay. We all want more out of life. Most people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have a tendency, not everybody, but people have a tendency to. I saw a guy earlier today that was invited to speak at this event, and this is a pretty famous guy, and he was literally given like no attention at all. And this is a guy that probably could have helped the people that wanted him on, and they just kind of were idiots about the whole thing. They didn't really capitalize on the moment that you and I, talked about the moment. They didn't capitalize on it. They made it all about them and how freaking cutesy they are, instead of how, like, I teach people how to interview other people.
Absolutely.
I see people do this. They'll make an interview. The interviewer makes it all about them and not the interviewee. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're a jack.
One of the biggest. It is a fundamental flaw of being a host.
It is. It's a big flaw. And
now, if a host doesn't have a guest, if you're co-hosting with each other, that's a very different scenario. But if you've got someone coming on your show as a guest, you need to feature who it is they are, right? Who it is they are on whatever level, the extent to which they would like to make themselves available to be known.
Yes.
To be understood, to be heard from, learned from, all of those things. That takes a certain type of host to facilitate that, and that is our job as hosts, is to make sure that we serve as the bridge that lets them shine out into the world by asking them significant questions and prompting them to just open up and speak. You don't want it just to be an endless parade of questions and answers, but you want to give them, you know what I think of it? I think a great talk show host, Ken, is someone who is a great set person in volleyball.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's what we do. In volleyball, there's the person who they're not there to make the spike themselves. They're there to set the shot.
Yes.
And as the ball is coming over, they recognize, I'm going to push it over to you. You are going to set the shot, and the next person's going to come in for what they hope will be the stuff, the slam, the kill shot. But you have to know how to do that, and that's an art form.
Well, here's I like, I've interviewed now over 315, I think, celebrities and entrepreneurs on my show. And in the beginning, I can remember thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do Jay.
Yes, you can. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. There it is.
So I can remember thinking, oh my gosh, I have this huge name on my show, and they're a celebrity there, and I can't believe this is happening. And it came down to the day, and I'm sweating, and I'm like, oh my, hi, Glenn, and I'm like, and I can remember thinking, okay, this guy has to know how cool I am. He has to know how smart I am. You
turned it into an overcorrection.
How am I going to work this into the conversation that we're about to embark on? And so, but here's what happened eventually.
Bark on, dude. Bark on.
I know. But what happened eventually is I was like, I knew this, that on a fundamental basic level, everybody's walking around on this planet listening to their favorite radio station, WIIFM, What's in It for Me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't fulfilling that on the highest level possible for my guests because I was too concerned about, I want this person to remember me and my name and who I am. And so I would spend too much time talking about me and instead of letting them talk like I'm doing now. I'm talking way more than you are, and that's not right. So I'll shut up.
No, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. But one of the key things that I think we have to wake up to is, this whole catchphrase, keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
First of all, the Joneses don't exist. This is going to be one of these memos we get on our death day, right? On the day we die, one of the things that will occur, I'm convinced, is we will get a series of memos about all the things we held as true that weren't. They never were true, but we wasted so many years believing in the tooth fairy. And one of them, I can see this memo now, and the memo says, regarding keeping up with the Joneses don't exist. And then there's an addendum which says, and even if they did, there's an excellent chance they wouldn't be thinking about you.
Right.
So first of all, they don't even exist. This is really going to help some people to hear this tonight. And I don't mean they wouldn't be thinking about you because you're boring. I'm saying they wouldn't be thinking about you for this reason. In this metaphorical understanding of the Joneses, rest assured, who do you think the Joneses are thinking about? Let me answer that. They're thinking about the Joneses. The Joneses are thinking about themselves. They're not preoccupied, and there's so much time and energy and effort and anguish over what somebody will think or what they will say. And if they see me in these blue pants, it'll just be dreadful. I have a newsflash for most people. This is going to be true. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares. Strangely enough, if you have a wrinkle in your shirt, that doesn't make the daily news. People are not going to say, I will never hang out with Jonathan again. Not with that wrinkle in his shirt.
No way.
No way. Not me.
Mm-mm.
So they're not really concerned with the intricacies of your life, nor mine, nor Ken's. And so I think we do really well in terms of our personal peace of mind if we simply put one foot in front of the other and do what brings great joy and great fulfillment and be a facilitator for others to do the same thing. Hey, Karen.
Karen Toddy's in the house.
To reach an outstretched arm into the air for someone to grab hold of because you are interested in being utilized in the capacity of a bridge to help them get from where they are to wherever it is they want to be.
Yeah.
And of course, in a perfect world, Ken, what I dream of is that where people want to be is actually where they are. So they want to be in the place they're already in instead of constantly wanting to be somewhere else. Because if you're constantly wanting to be somewhere else or with someone else, or how about this, even be someone else, that to me is a recipe for disaster and certainly the fundamental reason why people are unhappy.
Yep.
You can't, it's humanly impossible to be happy if you're always focused on being somewhere else with someone else or being someone else. In metaphysics, it is said that one of the most foolish things we can do with our time is.
Oops. He unplugged. He didn't do that on purpose. I can't hear you. Hey, click the unmute button on StreamYard. Or you may there.
Now are we back?
There you go.
I don't know why it just fell out because I didn't.
You didn't hit it with your elbow?
No, I didn't. But maybe the roller. I'm in one of these swivel chairs. Maybe it grabbed a hold of the wire. Anyway, and now I totally forgot what it was. I guess I was talking about wanting to be and metaphysics just teaching us that the easiest way to have what you want is to want what you have. And that the biggest problems we get into, I have two pieces of helpful information tonight. One, a colossal waste of time is wishing things were different.
Yeah.
I just wish it were different. I just wish it were different. Well, then do something about it. But wishing it were different is not doing something about it. That's a colossal waste of time.
Yeah.
But in metaphysics, they say resisting that which is pointless. Resisting that which is. So, for example, moving to California to then be traumatized by the idea of there being earthquakes, I have a suggestion. Don't move to California. And then you don't have to be traumatized by the fact that there are earthquakes there. So you're wishing for something to be other than what it is. And what it is there are earthquakes there.
Or better than that. And I want to answer because somebody's trying to answer it for us. Glenn and I first there was an attempt to connect us via Joe Ingram, sent a group message to us saying we needed to meet. And then we were on a live stream together with Bob Donnell. And that's where we first connected.
Yes. And thank you again for that, Joe, and for Bob. Thank you so much. Because we don't just have an on-screen bromance. We have a really good brotherly relationship. So I would just encourage all of you to think about the time and energy you can save wishing things were different than what they are. And instead, notice the perfection that surrounds you. Notice the perfection that operates in you and through you and as you.
Yeah.
And celebrate the laundry list of things that are beautiful about your life, huh, Ken?
That's right, dude.
I mean, celebrate what's beautiful instead of
your eye line's off. Down.
Is it? Well, I'm not in my house, so I don't have. How about now? Is that a little better?
Down. No, you want to move your eyes down. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Little over to your right. Little to your right. Right there. Perfect.
There it is. Okay.
You got it. I don't know how mine is.
Let me look at you. Bring it out a little bit toward camera. Bring it in toward camera, rather. That's good. And a little higher. A little higher. Bring your chin up. Oh, there it is. There it is. Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Or are you trying to roll your eyes to see if it works?
Yeah.
Right. There you are.
Pretty close to. Yeah. Wow. So,
these are little games we can play. These are adult men behaving this way in their respective locations.
That's right. So he says talking about Grant Cardone, talked about this yesterday. Make a decision and then choose the direction and go. Exactly. Totally agree. Make a decision. I literally, I've been thinking about writing a book on making a decision because the most difficult thing for people to do is make the decision. For example, you move to California unknowing that there's a communist governor and unknowing that there is the taxes are higher than any nation in the world in California, and unknowing that there are earthquakes, and then you sit around and you complain about it. Here's an idea. You're not a tree.
Right.
Move. It's not like you're stuck in the middle of the redwood forest and you have nowhere to go. Pack up your stuff and move.
Right. A tree doesn't have that option.
A tree does not have that option. So move. Have you made this? Nate is quoting from a great movie, dude. There is a great movie with Alec Baldwin, who I got to look this up.
Glenn Ross.
Yes. Have you seen it? Can you name the?
Dude, come on. I'm an actor.
I didn't know.
Glenn Ross is one of the greats, one of the greatest plays ever.
Alec Baldwin
and Jack Lemmon and Kevin Spacey. And I'm trying to think who else is in the movie.
Who's the guy that he's like, boss?
Is it Alan Arkin?
Alan Arkin is in it, but who's the guy where he says where Alec Baldwin goes, you see this watch? You see this watch? This watch costs more than your car. he's got the Boston accent.
Give me the leads. Give me the leads.
Yeah. The leads are weak.
Right.
The leads are weak. You're weak. He dropped
Glenn Ross. Or as they say in New York, Glenn Ross.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, Ken, but I got to say, when I'm going to talk this way, if I allow my eyes to just relax, it's amazing how it makes that voice come out so easily, And when I open my eyes, all of a sudden I can't do it, right? You got to have like this. All of a sudden, the leads. Give me a break for a minute.
Oh, that's funny.
Coffee is for closers. Nice, Mark. What does Robert say here?
Look, Charles Coachman. That's funny. I wasn't thinking about it. I literally started the book and then decided not to finish it. See, that's a decision. Like, not making a decision is still a decision.
Yes, it is. It's a decision to practice inaction.
And Karen is leaving. That's her saying bye.
Bye, Felicia. Ken's book on procrastination, by the way, comes out in 2028.
Right.
2028 is Ken's new book on procrastination.
Right. Joel says, I've got the leads. And Robert says, I specifically remember Grant saying be memorable. And I said be memorable in the comments. He reaffirmed this. So I dropped a response asked for by a different speaker near the end of his presentation. I will go into the presentable condition.
I will go put it into presentable condition.
Oh, put it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, Ken, regarding our title.
Darn thing needs to eat every night. Yes.
Oh, a hubby? A hubby needs to eat?
Yeah, she's got to go feed her hubby.
So,
she's such a good lady.
Regarding our title tonight, I want to ask again our family of anyone really, but especially our family that watch regularly to pitch in, to share, to be an active participant in the comments. But do you believe, and I will start by saying I do and have my entire life, I believe this, that this moment that we're in at any time, whether it's this moment, watch this, or this one, or this, or this, or this, or this,
right,
or this one, and so forth, that no matter where you are, that it could be this very next moment that changes everything.
Everything.
And I don't mean for the worse. I don't mean like a disaster of some sort. I'm talking about that through pure surrender, commitment, and intentionality, that we can decide that on a random Friday or a random Monday morning, it doesn't, and you don't need a special date. You don't need a holiday. You don't need it to be a birthday or your anniversary or even on your, on Christmas or New Year's, or it doesn't need to be a New Year's resolution. It can be just new you time. It's time for a new me. And you simply start making better decisions. And you view it as one well-placed brick at a time. What I've shared with you many times that Will Smith said to me. But the idea is to realize that incrementally, that's how we improve our lives. That's how we change things for the better. And we understand that life follows recipes. And frankly, we start cooking with a better recipe. Or we realize the futility of the one we've been cooking with. And we realize that we keep getting the same tasting food using the recipes we're using. And if that food is not satisfying, then we have to change the recipe. And sitting around wishing it would taste differently than it does is really futile, pointless, and a waste of time. So we can have a better plan. But I think it even starts, Ken, honestly, with the denial that this moment can be just phenomenal, that this moment right now, like right in the middle of this show, someone could just have an epiphany and decide, oh my gosh, there are some things that I am doing to cause injury in the world. Mm-hmm. There are things that I'm doing to be a disruptive presence, or to make things harder than they need to be for myself or others, or both,
Yeah.
And it could be greatly simplified. And I think that's what it comes down to, is the simplification of life is not much more than a whole lot of really love-centered decisions made one moment at a time, not just one day at a time. And that when you add them up collectively, you get a beautiful life out of it. That's how a beautiful life is generated. It's one well-lived moment at a time. And really not much more than that. It damn sure isn't money. It damn sure isn't money, because I've known too many really wealthy people who did not have corresponding joy.
Right.
So the money, it's been said that money exaggerates a pre-existing condition. I happen to believe in that. So you're going to have to recognize happy, not go find it, right? So give up your search for happy and just realize that happy's available right here, no matter where you are. I happen to be in a hotel in Atlanta, but maybe it's somewhere in Des Moines tonight for you, and you're sitting in your one-bedroom apartment and realizing, I'm warm, I have food in my belly, there's someone sitting right over there that I love very much and that loves me. Or there's nobody there in your house with you, but you realize, I like the way I show up in the world. I like what I bring this world in terms of love and energy and kindness and a helping hand. And I think that to me is the essence of life. I think you're muted, brother.
Crap. I said, I agree. I think a lot of people, and it's sad. And I say this not judgmentally. I say this from personal experience of thinking that the driving force behind some of these things is, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough.
How did you arrive at that conclusion? I don't mean you. I agree with you, Ken. What I'm saying is you, that metaphorical you, whoever is dealing with that.
Right.
How did you wind up forming that opinion that you're not enough?
Well, and I if you read some of Tony Robbins' stuff where he talks about how our belief systems are formed and then they're concreted by external sources. So if you grow up being told that, and there's and we talked about this many times, but the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel
Ruiz, yes,
and he talks about the the programming of the human, and that there's this reward and punishment system that we use to raise our children. And if you do what I say, there's a reward. If you do opposite of what I say,
there's a punishment. Right.
And that literally sets the stage for who we become as adults. And so it's very, very difficult to break these belief system patterns. Very difficult. It's possible, but most of the time it's improbable that those patterns will be broken. And you can, there's a whole gaggle of studies about it, but once you make the decision and then you take the action that's required to change, you can change.
I thought that was reserved for geese. Are studies also a gaggle?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I think, and I agree with JR, money does make suffering less uncomfortable, but it still is uncomfortable. However, I love what the Buddhists say, and Arlene Patrick is leaving. Bye-bye, Arlene. Thank you for being here. But the Buddhists have a saying, and that is, pain in life is inevitable. Suffering is optional. We don't have to suffer. Some of us suffer way longer than we need to because we were programmed. We saw other adults around us do the prolonged suffering gig.
Sure.
And so as little tiny humans, we take that in and we go, oh, that's how you suffer. So when there's a loss, you're supposed to suffer for 6 years, or when there's a loss, you're supposed to suffer for 6 decades, or whatever it is. And we literally have the ability to interrupt that pattern and change it.
Can I share with you one of my favorite Buddhist quotes?
Sure.
Here it is. That was it. Just sitting, being still with a smile on your face.
You know what? Sometimes that's probably
I quote that all the time. Just
yeah.
It's amazing how effective that can be if you just feed the moment some silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of, well, I can't believe he did all that. That's just not right. Not fair. Damn it. What a jerk. And someone goes, yeah, well, It just seems like such a better way to handle it. Instead of going, they should have told me that they were out of size 10 and a half. It's not right. So let me get this straight. You're upset because they didn't make your precious shoe size requirements their extreme priority. And that's what you are bent out of shape about right now.
You know, you brought up shoes, so I'm going to say this. We lost a great person this past week, Tony Hsieh, who is, he was the founder of Zappos.
Did you ever meet Tony?
We hung out together all the time. No,
I was serious. I had.
How would I have met Tony?
I had the pleasure of spending time with Tony Hsieh. That's why I asked. I am not joking.
What?
I am not joking. I went to be a part of Tony Hsieh's training with Bob Donnell in Las Vegas
What?
in a very, very intimate setting. Very intimate setting. Probably, I'm going to guess a group of about 50, maybe 60 people in a trailer in downtown Las Vegas, because that was their temporary siting when they were leaving the original home for Zappos shoes.
Yeah.
And he had bought what I believe was the previous city hall or Las Vegas police. It was either city hall or it was the police station. I think it was the city hall. And he turned it into Zappos shoes headquarters. So I spent my day with Bob and listening to Tony, and we were all invited there as speakers.
Wow.
And it's the only time I spent time with Tony. And then I read it that he had passed away in a fire in Connecticut.
At his brother's house or something. Yeah.
Was it his brother's house? Wow.
He wrote a book. I don't remember the name of his book, but I've read it, and oh my God, it's such a powerful book. Tone, I'm gonna look up.
So and Ken, I don't know that you know this, but he was not burned up in the fire. What he passed away of was smoke inhalation.
Yeah.
And he didn't pass away immediately. It was several days later, and they just couldn't bring him back. So,
man,
the smoke from the fire is actually what ended his life.
The book that he wrote is called Delivering Happiness. And I am here to tell you that it is, I'm gonna show everybody. That's Tony.
Yeah, there's Tony.
What an amazing human being that guy was.
So check this out. He dies at age 46. He is worth at the time $86 million.
That's it?
Or look it up. I am I wrong that it was 860 million?
That seems more like it. I think he sold Zappos to.
Maybe it was. Forgive me for missing a zero. Maybe it was 860. But look it up.
Yeah,
Can you look up right now what his net worth was? But here's the point: whether it was 860 million or 86 million, at the end of the day, we only have the way we live our lives.
It's around 1 billion. It says.
Oh, so it was. I read an article, so it must have been $860 million. But anyway, the point is, no matter what kind of money you have, how are you spending your time? How are you showing up? How are you making this world better? And how are you making pathways for people better?
Yeah.
And when he woke up that morning, he didn't know that would be his last day at age 46.
Yeah.
And the money couldn't bring him back. So the situation that had occurred, the best medical care, nothing could fix it.
Same with Steve Jobs.
Right. There's something to be gleaned from that we keep chasing this thing called money as if that's going to do it. And I got to tell you, when you find out that that's what does it, money will wind up being added to you in your life because of the clarity with which you're living. I really hold that to be true, Ken. I think people are very attractive when they're clear.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think we get clearer when we stop the chase. We just stop the chase, stop the madness, and be still and go, you know what? This is a good moment on a Friday night. This is a good moment. I got my buddy right here. We got people that gather with us on Friday, that gather with us on Sunday, that gather with you on Thursday evenings.
Yeah.
And that
watch you've been there many, many times.
Well, that's true. But I mean, they're there with you weekly, and you've got your wife that's there with you all the time. You've got your daughters, you've got your home there in Ohio.
Yeah.
And it's about what you do have. It's not about what you don't have.
Right.
What was that comment? I didn't see it. Oh, it was Charles?
Yeah.
I've grabbed onto your thoughts on incrementalism, and that is what my mindset is focused on. I listened to another speaker yesterday, and he spoke about the sled, suck less each day.
Love that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, Charles.
When Phil won the Masters, both his wife and mother had cancer. Wow.
Oh, when Jim Nantz, I guess, was the commentator and mentioned that.
I think though with yes, and I have a yes, and I do think that there are a lot of people who would absolutely love to have money. They would love to have money. And they may even rationalize or justify their lack by saying things like, well, I don't chase money, because they may have some sort of a
money block,
a false, a block or a bad blueprint on it or something going on.
Money is the root of all evil.
Right. Or rich people are evil and whatever. But, I think that I mean, I've been incredibly homeless level broke, and I've been incredibly well off financially, incredibly. And I can tell you that it's way, way better having money. You're still going to have problems. You still face challenges, but having money is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And so I would encourage people, don't try to rationalize staying broke. I believe that it's your God-given right and responsibility to make more money. You can't hardly do much for the world if you're broke.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Do you think I'm wrong?
But I'm with you on that.
So don't try to rationalize, is I guess what I'm saying is don't rationalize staying stuck and broke because there is more available, and you've got, but it comes incrementally, moment by moment, being present in the moment and pursuing something worthy, like maybe not pursuing money, but pursuing, I shouldn't say pursue around you. I know that, but look,
I was going to wait for you to.
I know, but still, like having and I know you don't like to use the word goal, but having a greater purpose for your life. You're here for a reason. You say it all the time. Like, you outswam 500 million sperm to be here. You won the greatest race of your life, and you showed up to be average and broke. No. My God, you're a champion. You come out of the womb a freaking champion, and then you live a life of mediocrity.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? That's not what life's about. That's not what it's about.
It's interesting. It's almost as though, wow. It's almost as though there was this woman in the world whose name was Eocrity, and her parents said, I want you to meet Eocrity. and people got so enthralled with meeting Eocrity that I only want you to meet Eocrity. Eocrity is not my favorite gal. I got to tell you that. She's just not my favorite gal.
I think it like with you, you and I have had very in-depth conversations, and about some of the milestones you've achieved in life, and and you didn't, and I love it when you talk about, you went to Hollywood, you moved to California, not in pursuit of a career.
I went there to have one.
Right. Yep. And I love that. And I love the way that you explain that. But I think that people see, you made a decision at an early age, whatever age that was, you decided, I like this, and I'm going to do this, and this is going to be my shtick. This is it, my thing. I'm going to master this craft.
Would you like to hear something I've never said ever to anyone privately or publicly ever?
Well, do you want to tell me privately and then make it?
No, I just feel like I want to admit something.
Go for it.
I just want to admit something that and Carolyn's never heard this.
Wow.
I've never said what I'm about to say, which is that she's heard me say I'm happy because I am. She knows I'm happy. But my first commitment in my life toward being happy is that I became very committed early on to not being unhappy. And that's my truth. I actually looked at a few different undesirable templates of what unhappiness looked like. And my thirst for happy began with, and it was strongly impacted by, well, I know I don't want that. That's where it came from.
Wow.
So I'm really thankful for those, what I will label as inverted role models, for showing me exactly what I was crystal clear I did not want.
Wow.
I'm crystal clear. Like that was removed from the equation for me. So thank you, oh cast of characters in my life that lived your lives the way you did, that showed me I don't want that and I will never allow that for my life. So it's been your life, and that's for you to work out, to figure out, to fix it, to heal it or not. But thank you for showing me what I absolutely will spend no time creating in my life. Thank you for showing me that.
Wow.
And that's really where it began. And I had an excess of it that pulled me out of that pathway. And I think that's a technique that I know I've used with great success in mechanics, Ken, is the art of troubleshooting. The art of locating a repair is quite often about locating what it isn't.
Right.
You know, the same pattern is true if you've ever gone on a search for something. So, for example, last night, this is what I was searching for last night. This is my iPad.
Yeah.
And it's dark. And when a dark thing, like a dark wallet, I remember in LA about 10 days ago, this was missing, and I found it because I know this. When I can't find something, I actually will start by looking for it to be on places I wouldn't see. So I went to all the dark places, and that's where my wallet was. Deductive reasoning. So instead of just looking through the house, I mean, I'm offering some tips at looking for things. Why am I not finding it? Why am I not? And the answer is because it's hidden. Well, duh. Thank you, Copernicus, for that piece of infinite wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes, it's missing, but more specifically, I'm unable to see it. Well, why am I unable to see it? Maybe it's right here, but I'm not seeing it because it blends with something. And it was right there on top of a very black chair in my office. And you had to be looking for black on black to find it. And I did. So this is missing. I'll make this brief, I promise. So we started removing options. And what we did is we kept removing options until we found it. So it's not there. It's not there. It's not there. It isn't here. And now what's happening is our home is getting smaller and smaller and smaller in terms of where it could be. And we know it's in the house because we had looked at something in fact, we watched Scott McKain's Daily Distinction on it in the kitchen a few days ago. So of course we exhausted the kitchen looking there, and it wasn't there. And then Kara remembered that she had looked at something with it herself. And we just removed all the options and found it near the fireplace on the ground behind a chair, which had created a shadow, which was dark. And that's where it was.
Wow.
So if you just can quit overreacting to being angry or upset and just slow down, take a breath, and start using deductive reasoning in your life, there's so many things that you can figure out. You can figure out what they are by figuring out what they're not. You can figure out where they are by figuring out where they're not. You can figure out how to do things by figuring out how not to do them. And so I'm just so grateful for this understanding of pathways and how to navigate through them, because sometimes someone showing us what not to do is one of the greatest roadmaps we will ever receive to the promised land of what our dreams are. We have to be shown. I mean, you've had your share of life sucking, and you don't need to do any more research. I know that about you. You've done your research and you've seen what life can look like.
Yep.
You also know the pathways that got you there. So deductive reasoning says, stay off of those roads and you'll stay out of that circumstance. So
Yep.
it's not all that difficult, you know?
It's this. I was looking for this song. I think it was Johnny Lee that did it. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Wasn't it him that did that? Was that on?
Looking for love in all the wrong places. Looking for love in too many. What is it?
Too many faces.
Faces searching for love.
Yeah. But we're
I'm dreaming of.
looking
Right?
at looking in all the wrong places. And I think that, again, it comes down to, for me, you said it earlier, your favorite Buddhist quote.
Oh, it's just, yeah.
Just being silent. And it's crazy because the way the human mind works, it's crazy because it goes 60,000 thoughts a day. Who said, oh, hold on.
Oh, Ken, this just came in. This just came in. I'm prepared to help people find their dream person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, your dream person is you. So quit looking for somebody else. There you go. Now, your other piece of the puzzle, if you're looking to share a life with someone, instead of, well, that's what I want, don't think about what you want. Think about what they would want and where would you likely find them. Instead of just assuming they're going to be anywhere. No, they won't. They won't just be anywhere, because for someone to be of that ilk, whatever the ilk is that you're imagining, of that upper echelon or whatever it is, then you have to think, well, they're not going to be drawn to lesser than circumstances. They're going to be found in healthy places. You say you want a healthy relationship. Well, then go to a healthy environment that would produce people appearing in that circumstance, and you'll wind up with health as your template. But if you, I don't go looking for, what is the, I don't go looking through rap sheets to find a dream friend, right? I don't know. I don't know that I'm making my point here. I'm just saying, if someone says, well, they met the love of their life in a bar, and I'm not saying you can't do that. And I don't even have a judgment about bars. I really don't. And I know you can meet the love of your life anywhere, but you wind up enabling one another, and you're in some destructive run, and you go back and go, no, let's just wait a minute. Where did I find the person?
Right.
So I'm on this destructive run, and then part of deductive reasoning would say, let's evaluate, let's walk this back and realize, well, I met her in a bar because she was showing her breasts to everybody at the bar. And I looked and went, there's my gal.
Right.
And you're concerned or you're surprised that that has mutated into an issue.
Right.
So think about what you would like your dream person to be. And then instead of thinking, well, I hope I'll find them, think about, here's a great word, Ken. Think about the trough where they would drink from.
Right.
And then go hang out at that trough.
Right.
And I don't mean literally drink. I'm saying, where would they go to feed their life? Where would they go to feed their life force? And if you go hang out near the trough, you'll wind up seeing the people that drink from those troughs. And then it won't be so disappointing when you wind up with someone that drinks from a much from an unhealthier trough than what you're dreaming of. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. Yep. I was way ahead of the whole swipe left, swipe right curve. I got into my relationships so very young.
Are dating apps any better where one dreams a person they never met, but they've seen their photos?
Read that one more time. I want to follow that.
Are dating apps any better? ? Where one dreams, I assume, of a person they've never met, but they've seen their photos.
No, interesting question.
I'm not sure. I think that once you're ready, or once you're, I mean, here's the thing about relationships that I think too many people don't understand. There's a great book called The Road Less Traveled.
Scott Peck.
M. Scott Peck. And he writes a chapter, I think it's chapter 7 in the book. I don't remember exactly. But it's on love and what love really is. And he says in there that, in the beginning of a relationship, it almost always, as far as a romantic relationship, it starts off as some sort of a sexual attraction. There's that energy is there.
Mm-hmm.
And then like eating filet mignon is a wonderful thing if you like filet. I happen to be a fan of ribeyes, but ribeyes, and I make a mean ribeye steak. I mean, I make a great ribeye steak, but I don't eat it every night. In fact, I don't, maybe once a week. Mm-hmm. And so, because ribeye gets old, it gets old.
Everything gets old if you do too much of it.
Right. So in a relationship, I think that too many people go into a relationship, and you said it a little bit ago, thinking that they literally, and I've done this isn't a judgment. I did it until I learned better. But they do it, and they're literally holding the other person hostage in the sense of, it's your responsibility to make sure that I'm happy. Yeah. And if your behavior is not in line with what makes me happy, then I'm going to be unhappy, and I'll make sure we're all unhappy. And as a result, they bounce around in relationships, and they blame the dating app, or they blame the bar, or they blame everything externally except for themselves. And when you say, hold it, I'm the one that's responsible for making me happy, and then you find someone else that has that same, like, hey, it's my responsibility to make me happy, not yours. And together we're going to come together, and it could be a dynamic, great thing. But it comes down to making a commitment that no matter what, like, we're doing this no it's for better or for worse. And when it comes down to that, where it's for better, and both people understand, there has to be an understanding, an agreement that no matter what, we're committed here.
Mm-hmm.
We're committed here. And if it ever comes to the place where you feel like this isn't working for you, or I feel like it's not working for me, then we discuss how we part ways and stay friends, hopefully. But to hold someone else hostage
or personally responsible for your joy
is absolutely one of the biggest reasons that relationships fail. It is
right. And not just in love, Ken, in friendship as well. I mean, I know you were including that, but I want to be clear that we're not only talking about in the dating world or whatever, but we're talking about just friendships in general. And you know, I've shared with you many times privately about this idea of script writing, that people write scripts for others to perform, and it seems that as long as you're performing their script, there's no better way. That is the formula for staying in the relationship. However, for anyone who's pulling this crap on someone, I want to offer you this thought. You only think that's working for you,
right?
If you're the script writer,
right?
But if you're the one who's being asked to perform the dog and pony show, I got to tell you, it's not working, and it is a disaster in the making. So to me, we owe it to one another in life to be self-reliant, to come together as whole people, not two halves. I've never once said my better half, because I'm not a half, right? I'm not a half person. Carolyn's not my better half. She's the other WHOLE, whole human being. And this whole human being joins in with her, just as I do with my friends, joining in with their wholeness. And together we celebrate who it is we are and what it is we are and what it is we're experiencing in this beautiful dance called life.
Right.
But it's two wholes coming together to enjoy what it feels like to operate in synchronicity with one another, in unison, but not in a codependent way, but in a harmonious way. And I think that most relationships take turns being the melody and the harmony. And it's not two melodies getting together, and it's not two harmonies getting together. We take turns. Sometimes you're doing the melody and I'm doing the harmony, and sometimes you're doing the harmony and I'm doing the melody. But that to me is I think one of the number one things I look for in friendship is self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
Because otherwise one of the partners, their breasts are going to get sore from being chewed upon and from having to breastfeed and nurse the relationship too much for what is not, frankly, their responsibility. It's not their responsibility to make sure that you're properly breastfed.
Right.
You know, it's really an inside job, just like happiness.
You know, I think, and Nicole says, what are your thoughts when a person asks what you're looking for in a relationship? I also think too many people assume what you mean rather than ask. Communication is the key. I do agree with that. You know, I think, and JR says one hand trying to applaud is pathetic. I agree with that too. And I meditate. Whoops, these things jump. How much of our wishes and desires to fulfill come out of cultural conditioning versus personal attitude? You know, there's so I'll start with Nicole. What are
our
your
folks
thoughts?
give us a chance to think, don't they? They're good. I love these comments.
I do too. What are your thoughts when a person asks what you're looking for in a relationship? My thoughts would be, you know, it's better to be clear about that up front than you know, 5 or 10 years down the road. And again, I know so many people because you know, just like in my marriage, good God, there's been some rocky moments. I mean, rocky moments. There's been periods of
Been there.
extended periods of time where it's like, are we gonna make it? Like, are you know, are we what are we doing here? Like, you know, like, and you know, you take it one breath at a time sometimes, and you just go, I don't know what we're doing, but for now, we're just gonna just let it chill, because I'm not making any crazy decisions right now, and we're just gonna breathe, you know, and that's for me. And I'm not saying that, you know, and then there are moments where we're on an extremely high, and it's really, really good. But, you know, I think that it's become far too easy for people to walk away and just give up way too easy. And I just don't see, I mean, my grandparents, I had two grandparents that were, you know, my grandpa used to walk my grandmother to school when he was 9 and she was 8. And they were together until he died at 90 years old, and she died 2 years later. But they were married. They got married at however old she was, 18, he was 19 or something like that. And you don't see that anymore. You don't see that, but they were committed. I mean, they were committed no matter what. And they had 7 kids, you know, they went through some hard times, but they stayed committed to making it work no matter what. And it comes down to that. Comes down to that. There's been times in my business where I'm like, I'm sure there's been you've had to have times in your acting career where you were like, I don't know if I'm getting another job, you know, like,
yeah, it didn't show up in that exact form, but there have certainly been times where I wondered if it was what I wanted to continue doing. And that was years and years ago, in my mid-20s, frankly.
Yeah.
And then, and it was burdensome to get through those periods because some of them would last as long as like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That's how burdensome it was. I'd go, I don't know if I want, yes, I do. And then I was over with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Right.
So, to answer that question about what do you look for in a relationship, I think if I were to answer that, I would say to the other person, whether it's a love relationship, of romance or marriage or friendship, that you're looking for someone who recognizes that every one of us are works in progress, and that I want to know your truth. I want to know your truth up front about what it is you believe you're here in the world to do, and who it is you are. What are the deepest yearnings of your soul? And I'm going to admit the same. And then we're going to find out if we have a match in the support of one another in the unfolding of those things. But, and to have fun. Fun is a huge part of it for me. I like to have fun. And I can't be spending extended periods of time with people that are a stick in the mud. I just can't do it. No. I have too much time, you know, and there's an opportunity to have fun most every day.
Yep.
And I like to have a really good time, but I also, I want to give credit to Carolyn for this, because neither one of us hold the misguided opinion that we know better how to live their life than they know how to live their life.
Yeah.
And that's worked out really well. It's gotten us through some tough spots to realize you were not there in that moment. You don't know exactly what that moment was, but I was there. And that's both people talking and living and making choices to the best of my God-given ability. And that I remain a work in progress, always have been and always will be. But my heart's, you know what I look for? I look for people whose heart is in the right place. Like their heart is really in the right place, that they want to be an ongoing contributor to moments, meaning they're here to make these moments better. They're
Right.
not here to make them worse. And I've made moments worse in my life, but I didn't intentionally make them worse.
Right.
But I've still done that and then realized, wow, I stepped in it.
Yeah.
I really stepped in a mud hole here, and I want to get back on track and remember that I have a commitment to making moments better
Right.
everywhere. And so what I would want is to be in a relationship with someone who is committed in that same way to improving and enhancing moments, basically to harmonize the moment, to
Right.
establish what the melody is of the moment and figure out how they can slide in harmoniously to improve the quality of the experience, the song, the life, whatever it is.
Right.
And to give up, probably the biggest one, Ken, to give up the need to be right. Just to give that up and realize it's highly overrated. Dr. Wayne Dyer said this. He said, do you want to be right or be happy?
Yeah.
He said it was one of the greatest awarenesses ever for him, is that being right was highly overrated.
Yeah.
And that on those occasions that he was so caught up in being right that he failed to make being happy a priority. And he found in the end that had been a bad trade. In Monopoly, they would say that that's trading Boardwalk for Baltic, right? Because being right is perhaps temporarily satisfying at best. And I don't even know if it provides that. But if being right alienates you from everyone else because you've made the effort to point out how right you are, that's a pretty empty victory.
Yep. Sure is.
You know?
I agree. I agree. Hold on. I got a text message from my mom. My dad tested positive today for COVID. Oh wow, the doctor said she could have that bad cough for 6 to 7 weeks. Wow.
Ew, wow.
Jeez. It's terrible.
Well, hopefully all of this stuff has been helpful. I'm sorry to hear that both your folks are dealing with that, Bubba.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, at any given time, are you making things better? Or are you making them worse?
Right.
Or are you not doing anything? Are you just sitting on your butt?
Yeah.
And notice the good ones. Notice the good ones and notice what they do. Right? Notice what they do. Notice what health does and how health behaves. And then support people for their goodness, support them and praise them for that. And really notice, because it's a shame when someone is doing colossally great work on this planet and they get ignored.
Yeah.
When someone's really suited up and showing up to make the world a better place and they get taken for granted. Or worse, somebody will find fault. And we ran into this recently, Ken, and I don't need to get into the story, but we ran into something where a lot of helpful ideas and teachings and strategies were being shared. And what was obsessed over was one moment that was disagreed with.
Yeah.
And just try to get away from that habit of noticing the one wrong thing with your partner or with your friend, but instead notice the flurry of greatness.
Yep.
And of humanity and decency and love and kindness and thoughtfulness and generosity and intrinsic goodness. Just celebrate that and go, you know what? Don't we all deserve to be averaged out? I mean, don't we all deserve to be averaged out? That, my God, if you are mostly kind and mostly loving every time I run into you, as long as you're not chopping the heads off of children during your off days,
right?
You know, something really extremist. But if occasionally someone does something that's a little bit selfish, I don't think we need to vilify them. I think we need to grade on a curve and say, you know what? 99% of the time, you are such a cool dude.
Yeah.
You're just a picture of warmth, and the world loves you. And am I really going to lose this friendship over the fact that you didn't know that I like my eggs scrambled?
Right.
And what the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Dude, you've got that it's late look in your eye.
No, I'm thinking. I mean, it's late, but I'm thinking. I think, there's a story about this elderly couple in their late 80s, and every year on their anniversary, or every day, the husband would make breakfast for both of them and coffee, just a couple of pieces of toast and some coffee. And
you're making me hungry.
I know. And so she sits down, happy anniversary, and he serves her piece of toast and coffee, and he sits down. She says, after all these years together, I figured that on this day, our 70th wedding anniversary, whatever, I don't know, that of all the days, you would, at least on this day, you would serve me a regular piece of toast. For all these years, every day you give me the heel of the end of the bread, that you give me the heel every single time. And I just don't understand it. Do you not love me? What is it? Why do you give me the heel? And he said, I'm sorry. I give you the heel because that's my favorite part of the bread.
Right. He was giving her what was his favorite part.
And he thought he was doing good. And
right.
So,
that's a story about perspective.
It's about, so, sometimes it takes stepping back and going, first off, don't wait 70 freaking years to communicate something like that,
especially regarding matters of toast.
Right. But like, it's what's going, you can't get behind. I can't get as good of friends as you and I are. I cannot get behind your eyeballs and have your paradigm of the world.
Right.
You can't see the world the way you see it. And so even in our friendship, I say things and you just go, I can't even relate to that, Ken. And me, I think I can't, no, I can't relate to that, dude. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't really, it's very rare because we can relate to a lot of stuff.
Right.
But like, it's okay.
It reminds me, the beauty of your story reminds me of an equally beautiful story where a 98 and a 97-year-old couple that had been married for almost 80 years were getting a divorce. And of course, this.
Sorry. That's funny.
So they were getting a divorce at 98 and 97, and they were interviewed, and they were asked why, after almost 80 years of marriage, would you get divorced now? I mean, I understand divorce, and even after many years, but not this many.
Right.
And their response was, well, of course we had to wait for the kids to die. So. I love that story. It's so uplifting.
Case in point, I cannot relate to that humor.
It's great humor is what that is. So how about this story? And this one really is a great one. It's a sad one, and it's prevalent in our society. It's a story about lack, and it's the story of a woman whose 8-year-old boy, she took him out to the beach, and let him get out into the water on his own. But she was a little nervous about it because the surf was up pretty high that day. So she's kind of looking up over the waves as they're coming in, watching, just keeping an eye. And he's out there about 30 minutes when all of a sudden she notices that he has disappeared. And the number of boys that are out there with him has changed by one. And she rushes to look closer up from the beach, and he is not there. And she's scared, and she runs and grabs the lifeguard, and the lifeguard jumps into the water and goes out, and it's crystal clear water. And he can see that her boy is in fact down on the bottom, and he dives down, gets the kid up, brings him back to the beach, and starts madly performing CPR. And it doesn't look like the kid's going to make it. I mean, he is just violently just going at it with these compression moves. And finally, after about 2 full minutes, this kid goes, "Oh!" and is coughing madly, and this water is coming up out of him. And he looks up and smiles at his mother and says, "He's fine. He's going to make it." And the mom looks at the lifeguard and goes, "He had a hat?" So if you are one of these people who are busy noticing that there is a missing hat when someone just saved your son's life,
right,
or metaphorically, to a lesser extent, someone did something really nice for you,
right,
and instead of being a celebrator of that, you are the commenter on the fact that he had a hat. I think it's one of the greatest teachings in life about where we apply our focus. Are we focusing on what is wrong with a moment, or are we focusing on something that is massively wonderful? And isn't it a shame when you give something that is so disproportionate, right? It is so grotesquely imbalanced, of the better over the worse, right? So it's monumentally wonderful, and it's a little bit terrible. Like, there's so much that's wonderful and a little bit that's irritating.
right.
And the focus goes to what's irritating. I'll be honest with you, Ken, it wouldn't bother me if I never met another person like that in my life. That would be okay with me, to never have that element again. The noticer, always the noticer of what is wrong with a moment, instead of the cornucopia of what's wonderful about a moment.
Wow.
So it's focus, baby.
Gary, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, and I think we're going to wrap it up too, Gary Schill.
I have one last thing to say, and I want to say intention. Set your intention. And I don't just mean for your life. I'm talking about in every moment, set your intention.
Mm-hmm. And that's your share. How about if I couple that with, and while setting your intention, set the correct level of follow through that intention is going to need in order to manifest.
Yep.
In order for it to be realized in the world and to show up, you're going to have some stick-to-itiveness and some follow through. And if you commit to your intention, that's really when you'll see dreams come true. That's when there will be a harvest season, and what you'll be harvesting will be very, very pleasurable for you and your family.
I agree. All right, dude. Look, I'm even wearing
Committed to Excellence. That's beautiful. I love you, brother, and we love you guys. Thanks for joining us for yet another Friday night here in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
We are in the same time zone again, Ken.
We are.
But I'll be out here for a couple of weeks. Kind of nice to be in Atlanta. All right, Bubba. I'll talk to you over the weekend.
Yep. Sounds good. You guys all have a fantastic evening. And don't forget about Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. See you guys.
Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.